Soundstripe. Soundstripe.
Home team, what's good, man? It's your boy Kyle Harvey, and this is another episode of POTB, Points on the Board. POTB is your weekly podcast dedicated to the beats, bars, and headlines that are violating your timeline and real life in real time. Is anyone paying attention to the that is happening in Ohio? CNN is reporting that Ohio Governor Mike DeWine is deploying the Ohio State Highway Patrol to monitor schools in Springfield after they received 33 bomb threats since late last week. 2 colleges and 2 elementary schools were closed due to threats, but none of the threats have been proven valid. The threats and closures are happening amid controversy over baseless allegations made by former President Donald Trump and VP presidential candidate of the Republican Party, Vance, who continuously raised concerns about the Haitian immigrant community that is living in Springfield, Ohio. So what can be gathered from Vance and Donald Trump talking shit about Haitian immigrants? My big point on the board with this is social media and anyone that is aligned with those values are being conditioned to start talking crazy about black people after Haitians. Because what's next? You've talked crazy about Arabs, you've talked crazy about anyone from South American descent, the Latinos. Now we're moving up to Haitians. So if we're power ranking what's next, I feel like black Americans are right up at that totem pole. Because the average white person, the average person is not going to waste their time. The average racist is not going to waste their time figuring out if the random black person they have a problem with in Ohio is Haitian. It's on site. And unfortunately, it's just going to be a soft launch for what should be expected leading up into this election. So yeah, can we vote yesterday? It's time. If you're a fan of hip hop, Kendrick Lamar's run from the end of last year through now in September will be doing its victory lap of dominance in January 2025 for the Super Bowl. And because of that, and the bodies he's littered when it comes to his Drake beef, has had a lot of people celebrating his win for the Super Bowl, seeing it as a victory lap for defending the culture. Bars still matter. Compton versus Canada. Insert whatever narrative you want. People are definitely talking about Kendrick. However, due to the fact that the Super Bowl is in Louisiana, in New Orleans specifically, Lil Wayne, the NFL's probably most vocal fan from the hip hop space, online campaign wanted to know why Lil Wayne wasn't selected. There's a few wrinkles here. One being Jay-Z being the person who's been curating the halftime show for the better part of 4 to 5 years. And then 2, the fact that, Kendrick Lamar has been on like a god tier run when it comes to not just hip hop, putting on for the culture. So why not? Why wouldn't it be Kendrick? Wayne and Wayne's supporters, aka Birdman, aka Nicki Minaj, and a very strong cohorts from the athletic and music community are still going for Wayne. And in my opinion, while feelings are really important here, if we're talking about facts and honesty, anyone who's seen Wayne perform over the better part of 10 years, basically anything post No Ceilings, and again, rough timeline, is not the same live performer. If you've known Wayne or been aware of Wayne ever since Cash Money, and we're talking Bling Bling, Back That Ass Up, even 500 Degrees, Shine, Wayne's progress from all that early Cash Money to The Carter, and then all the way to, again, No Ceilings. We've seen his progression as a performer, but then also as an MC. The MC and the performer have a sudden shift when we get past once he gets out of prison. And again, it's not saying Wayne's hits wouldn't, ring out in the stadium, but if we're talking from performance, who's been the most consistent? I've never, ever seen a bad Kendrick Lamar performance. Can't say the same thing about Wayne. So the way I see this, the point on the board will be here is the fact that no matter if Kendrick is going to be on that stage be on the lookout for Wayne to either do like a Super Bowl intro, maybe a surprise guest, because unlike a lot of Lil Wayne's fan base, Kendrick Lamar is a fan of the culture, and I think it'd be within his reality to do something with Wayne just off the strength. So Diddy's in prison, or Diddy has been arrested, and what has been the culmination of a month-long investigation that began with Cassie rocking the world and outing Diddy as a potential predator, suing for him, et cetera, et cetera. We're in the next chapter of that stage where it's being widely reported, and we just came off a press conference and we're getting details of what's been happening in the case. I'm not a lawyer, be very clear on that. But some of these details are not just shocking, but very alarming. Mainly from the, I just think it's funny we're in an era right now where freak-offs has to be defined, right? Freak-offs, where Diddy was reportedly filming, recording multiple men, multiple sex workers, having sex with not just Cassie, but a hodgepodge of people. And then Diddy would either bribe or just violate them in some capacity. Now, Diddy going to jail is one thing, but I wonder how he's going to be covered within black. When I say black media, I want to be very specific. From the podcast, from the legacy companies, as in, I guess Ebony Essence, some of the new ones like the Griot, Blavity, and even Black Enterprise. Diddy has been featured on all these platforms in a very celebratory aspect. And yet, now that he has been compromised, I'd wonder, how do we move forward when are we talking about heroes, pillars of the quote-unquote culture? Hopefully there is a referendum, because what I do know is if someone's been accused of racketeering or anything aligned with RICO, he's not going to be the first domino. So we'll see what happens. It seems like it's going to be TikTok for a lot of folks in the music industry. So we're not in here on that. And last but not least, Tito Jackson, brother and famed member of the Jackson family dynasty, passed away a few days ago due to a heart attack at the age of 70. First and foremost, what a life. Because without Tito Jackson and without him breaking into his dad's closet and stealing his guitar, we wouldn't have a lifetime and an infinite amount of music to celebrate. But he also was a father of 3, and he was a brother to many. And he also was one of the greatest guitarists, one of the greatest black guitarists to ever do it, which may have been overshadowed by the legacy of his siblings and their pipes. But when it came to that guitar, Tito Jackson used to know how to make it sing. So rest in peace to the legend. But then also, I hope everyone takes a moment to look at their elders, because Frankie Beverly passed away not too long ago. Rest in peace to him. And Fat Man Scoop just passed away a few weeks ago. And the late, great James Earl Jones passed away 2 weeks ago. So there seems to be a generation, either our grandmothers, grandfathers, fathers, or mothers, they're losing some of their icons. So hopefully we are taking note and be mindful that our time here is fleeting and making the most out of that. And I'd say between all the people I just named, they did the most with their time here on this earth. Also, something else I thought was really dope. Tito Jackson and Frankie Beverly are part of this generation of music, of R&B, soul, or pop, funk, whatever you want to call it, whatever they touch, that came before hip-hop. So this was like unfiltered emotion, unfiltered musicality and production that began with instruments that weren't being sampled, which ironically became some of the foundational music that was sampled in hip-hop. So when you get a chance, take a moment, listen to some Frankie Beverly and Maze, whether you want a two-step, get your white linen on, or go listen to some of those old Jackson records, or bring up those old YouTube clips where you see Tito with his guitar solo and he's getting to it. I wish more, and I wish for more versatility and musicality with these next generations coming up from hit makers. But yeah, RIP to the Kings. Hey, yo, home team, we got through it. This is another episode of Points on the Board, POTB. Glad you got here with me. And as always, please hit that like, comment, and please subscribe and follow the podcast over at 87 to Infinity on the Substack. I'm Kyle Harvey, and I'll talk to y'all soon. Peace. And this podcast was produced here in Wilmington, Delaware at RAMG Studios. Give them a like, give them a follow, and please inquire about all the great services they offer.